We are back. Man, I think it's been, 2 weeks, I believe, since we've done one of the DeFi AI shows. A fun, packed week last week with Think AI and Billy Bet's team. Which one did you guys think was more impressive?
What do you got, Chris? What do you think?
Bro, Billy Betts was cool. It was super fun, but the Think Agent guys were super legit.
Yeah.
They have a ton of experience in just like kind of building startups, and just like they were pretty early on to AI building as well. And so we got a lot of insights from them. That was one of my favorite conversations that we've actually ever had.
Yeah, for sure. Those guys, definitely the building decentralized AI infrastructure is really hard. And I just appreciate people like that who are just leaning into something that's probably super important. You know, it just seems more and more obvious. I was on a show this morning talking about stable coins, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this is like, it's just one big psyop to just, you know, have control, complete control of everybody's money. And you think about AI and the obvious easy ability to just completely control everybody's thought process. Like it's here. And so teams that are working actively to kind of allow that freedom technology to go on, I'm big fans of, for sure.
I was listening to that stablecoin space earlier. It feels like it's the same conversation that's been happening for 5 years at this point. It's like, can we get on with the show? Also, I think the Think Agent guys were more impressive just from the knowledge standpoint. Billy Betts is dope. I did end up looking at another suggestion that they had recommended called Clutch Markets, which is actually, it's on Ape Chain. It was a parlay. It's a parlay platform that's built on top of Polymarket, which is kind of interesting to see all these technologies kind of be stackable. But Think Agents, their whole mission is this idea of decentralized, localized AI agents. And I don't know if it's the algo or what, but ever since we had that conversation, I see a lot more conversation on my timeline about localized agents. I think it is kind of interesting. The whole thesis is that they said that OpenAI is essentially, you know, nefarious, right? Everything you put into the prompt is their information. And so what are they going to do with all of the code that every single company that's ever built, with, you know, all the private conversations, all the data, you know, what are they going to do with that information? So they use Venice on the back end, which is Eric Voorhees's private AI model, which I thought was interesting. But they take it one step further, where it's something that's called a localized agent, where instead of having the agent run through something like what we use, OpenRouter, you actually run it natively on your computer. and I guess it's less power intensive. And I saw one of them, I think it was Mike, he was posting about this yesterday, who's one of the co-founders of Think Agents. He talks about scaling AI, and he's like, what do you think is more expensive? Scaling 1 billion AI agents through all of these data centers, or 1 billion agents individually hosted on an individual's computer? So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe that is the direction. Chris, what do you think? Do you think that localized agents are going to win out, or is the big AI or big data going to win again?
I think big AI has it in the bag, to be honest. I think local AIs will exist, but I don't see most people using a localized AI agent. But the fact that it exists is just enough promise that we need, right? Like, even just for so many years, like, we didn't need Bitcoin to be this massive thing. We just needed it to exist to allow, freedom to kind of persist throughout the entire world. So I think it's kind of the same with AI. The people that want to use it are going to use it, but most people are not going to use it. OpenAI has such like a catch-all on the entire industry, and then you have like Grok, who also has a pretty good stronghold. Gemini, Llama 4 now. I mean, like, you're going like a small percentage of these people are going to use localized AIs, and then you have these massive corporations that just have this gigantic footprint and hundreds of millions, billions of users, I guess, between all of them. It's tough to compete, but I'm happy it exists.
Totally with you. I mean, to run a big model like an O3 style model, you need like a $6,000 machine to handle that and use that kind of power. Obviously, 99.9% of people are never going to do that. Not to say it's not going to get way cheaper and way easier. It will, of course.
Right.
But we've seen, internet history tells us that people are completely willing to give up privacy and all the rest of it for ease and convenience. So certainly in the short term, it feels like, big tech is going to win this battle.
Give me all of your privacy. So moving into the DeFi AI sector, man, I feel like we had the same conversation about a month ago or so, but it is just gigantic red all across the board. Banker, though, this time around, Banker and Hanon, I think, have made some gains. The way that I'm looking at the market, where you could see here, so all of the top, what is this? The top 15 DeFi AI projects by mindshare are all down 30% or so, some down 20%. So it looks like Hanon's down the least in terms of the major ones. Is down 23%. Banker's down 27%. Agent Hustle's down 28%. I feel like Agent Hustle front ran all of them in terms of the downside, because it went from 4.5 mil to 1.2 is where it sits today. But if you actually look at the chart, it did put in a higher low, which is pretty cool. Banker, we're going to get into kind of the updates here in a little bit, but Adam, does this scare you at all that the 1 bajillion users of DeFi AI projects are sending all of the tokens to zero?
No, I mean, that's obviously the joke. It's like we know, because we're like right here, that there are maybe 2,000 people using DeFi AI products right now in the world. Maybe 3,000 if we go like to the outer edge, and anybody who's typed "Hey Banker," on the timeline, maybe 3,000 people on Earth who are using DeFi AI products right now. Really using them, not rolling a dice like on Newton or something, like actually using these products. So I just look at it as we're still in this early stage, and I feel like this cycle, these products still have a real chance of making a massive impact. And my gut is that when we have that impact, we'll have the price appreciation again. It's just, you can't look at this. Is basically what we're looking at here is we're looking at a meme coin, and meme coins are just going up and down with the market. But I think, once we get kind of real adoption of people actually using these AI agents on a daily basis just to manage their crypto, then it's a different game.
Chris, what's your overall take on the progression of the DeFi AI market, token price, and at what point do we resume going back up?
Ooh, okay. So definitely like a power law distribution playing out in real time, where 80% of the market caps are going to be kind of dominated by like 20% of the projects. So you want to be in that 20%. So you have to make sure that you have the good tech. You have to make sure that you have a strong community. You have to make sure that you can kind of get that distribution. And it's definitely playing out. It's definitely like Banker, Heynon, Hustle's like right there, even though the market cap's small. The position that Hustle's in is really, really good because we have a lot of triggers that we can pull that every other team pretty much can't really pull. We have some friction points that we need to kind of resolve, and then where we can resolve. And a lot of teams already kind of gave everything, they left everything on the table. And so in terms of like multiples and things like that, like what is let's see, what's Banker at? Like 30 million. That's not bad. That's pretty fair. I feel like that's kind of like fair value, 20, 30 million for them, but still to get to a 2x, you got to get that market cap to 60 million. If you're looking at Heynon, you have to get that market cap to 120 million. That's a pretty serious capital injection to move the market. I don't know if that's going to happen for Hustle. Like 1.2 million, you have to get it to 2.4 million. I mean, it's a small capital injection to move the needle. And so pretty comfortable with Hustle's position and the developments that are kind of under wraps. And then just as far as just like when the market is going to return, we just forget how early all of this shit is, like, sure, we say like general AI, consumer AI has like a couple 100 million users monthly, but that's like nothing. That's like 0% of the world. And how many of those are actually users that are kind of changing their habits? Sure, it's like it's definitely like, you can see it persisting and becoming a threat to something like Google and the search engines and stuff like that. But if you walk down the street, like the average person probably doesn't use ChatGPT at this point in time. And so it's very clearly that is the trend. But as that trend just kind of deepens and widens, then people will kind of start to understand how quickly AI is moving. And that's when we'll pretty much see like the rise of the next cycle. But I mean, I've posted about it a lot. This is going to blindside just so many people. Like the advancements in AI are nothing like I've ever seen in my entire life. And the speed that they're coming is pretty breathtaking. So it's happened sooner than later. But most people, they're just not using this shit. They don't care about it.
I mean, look at Banker. They've had so much bullish news, like so much, and their price barely moved. And I mean, it's like they're on Coinbase. They're in the fucking Coinbase wallet, and the price like barely budged. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, that space is just not. It's not on the timeline well enough that the people are paying attention yet, in my view.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's small. The sector needs a few more catalysts, a few more breakouts. I think a few more kind of innovations. Maybe honestly, it just needs to also get past the virtuous flywheel that's going on. That seems to be where all of the attention's going, is basically 500x returns right off the bat. With some of the stuff that's gone out through it, which we will dive into here in a second. I know we'll have an Agent Hustle update towards the middle of the show with some of the stuff that we are cooking up. But some of the other teams, it seems like the leaders continue to build. And, the other projects continue to go through this virtuals kind of launch. But there's only really one project I've seen have any sort of attention or any sort of adoption from the season 2 virtuals project, which is Basis OS, which is basically a yield optimization vault. You basically put money into Basis OS, and then it basically takes your money, turns it into stable coins, and then basically finds the best yield on the stable coin and just continually rotates it to other areas. Obviously, this I think will then expand to probably things like wrapped Bitcoin and other products, I would assume, just generating yield. But I think that's what everyone wants, right? Put money into something, never have to worry about it again. Although I've seen kind of indifferent results or reviews on the product itself. Another interesting thing I've seen with Basis OS is something called mindshare mining. So mindshare mining is basically their version of yapping or Kaido. Banker also implemented their own native version as well. So what I think these teams are doing is they're taking the Kaido API and then they're basically building their own Yap board on top of it, which I think is smart, right? You're not subject to Kaido I mean, you get to brand it yourself, and you're not subject to Kaido's pre-TGE board, because that's all they do, right? This is kind of like a big issue in the market. And speaking of another AI company like Cookie, who came out with a Kaido competitor called Snaps, they've only done one project so far, but their whole thing is we're going to allow post-TGE products to participate, where Kaido is pre-TGE products, right? The post-TGE market is much bigger than the pre-TGE. And I would say it's probably healthier if you're a project to participate in post-TGE yapping than it is to do pre-TGE. Because we've seen this with Prompt, we've seen this with, now I'm sticking just in the AI space, and now with Adam's favorite project, Magic Newton, these pre-TGE AI projects, you get yapped into oblivion, and then it just becomes a token product, or people only care about the token. They don't care about the product, and it just kind of fades into oblivion, right? So, but if you're a post-TG product, that means that generally you probably have some sort of adoption, some sort of users, and you want to reward those users with continuing the momentum. So you kind of go with this like product first mindset, and then go with this incentive tokenization aspect rather than kind of the reverse.
I mean, I was on Ethos this morning reading up some project was being slashed, and I'm using the word project like loosely. It's like this thing was like 2 years old. People have been waiting on the TGE for 2 years. It bought like the NFT 2 years ago, and they're still waiting on it. So I'm like, I don't even know. Dinosaur freaking NFT project. It's like, what is this? This is just fake. It's like a fake thing. And obviously Wayfinder's starting to get some pressure on the timeline about theirs, because it's like, how many months is it going to turn into years? It's going to be an alpha. And bro, I'm making notes of all these people who were super bullish Wayfinder on the timeline, man, because it's like people were like, this is game changing. Really? Have you used it? Oh, I've seen screenshots. Really? Screenshots. Okay. I mean, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy business out there, man. Crazy business.
Yeah.
Good for us. I mean, it's good for the builders. It separates everyone from, the signal from the noise, as cliche as that is. But to have a real product at this stage of the market is pretty incredible. There's only like 3 that are really doing it. There's a lot of noise in the industry, but that kind of just provides like an umbrella, like a shelter for, the builders that are kind of pushing their products to market. And when the market turns, you're really going to start to see the difference between who's been building and who's actually just been, I don't know, fluffing their token or.
It was funny. What was that? What were we talking about earlier this week? Where those guys? It wasn't just Privy, but there was one other company that had sold, right? And nobody even knew about them. Like there was no presence on the timeline. Even the guy from Privy, who I follow, CEO of Privy, bro, he had like 4,000 followers. Basically, zero impact on the timeline. All they did was create a great business. And I don't know what the guy made, $500 million, So
yeah, you don't really see any acquisitions of projects that have tokens, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting phenomenon. That will definitely change. I think it's because it adds another element, right? So it's like if your market cap of your token is $100 million, how do those users, transfer that value over? It's like, what are you gonna? If you have a large treasury, then obviously that can kind of consume it, and you can redeem based off of the market value. But if not, then token holders are going to get hurt in some way, right? They're not going to get 1-to-1. They're going to get dimes on the dollar, essentially, to whatever that kind of transfer rate is at some point in time. But I think these like companies that are acquiring companies, all this M&A is just the top of the funnel crypto products. They're all stablecoin infrastructure, wallet infrastructure. Trying to think like options exchanges, derivative exchanges. I suspect probably 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're going to see a BlackRock, or you're going to see, right, you'll see something like a BlackRock try to come in and buy like the Uniswap front end or something like that. I would not be completely surprised. Obviously, Uniswap's decentralized on smart contracts, but it's kind of like in the AI space where the AI companies are coming in and buying the wrappers, right? They came in and bought Windsurf for whatever that gigantic deal was.
Yep.
Right? It's the front end, because the front end is where all the users are. And we learned this with trying to launch a marketplace. Like with OpenSea, Seaport is decentralized. Every marketplace is built on Seaport, but everyone continues to use OpenSea, even paying a larger marketplace fee because it's that just user behavior. So I suspect probably in a few years we'll see some big TradFi companies come in and start buying some DeFi companies. Just not yet.
Well, it's interesting just thinking of that and like, Pump Fun, right? Which obviously is on the timeline today because they got banned on X yesterday. But what's that valuation worth? And it'd be interesting to know what they were thinking when they were debating whether to launch a token or not, as to whether or not they become acquirable if they launch a token and stuff. So
I mean, if you launch a token for $1 billion, I don't think that you care. I think that's the
right
where you're looking for $1 billion. Like, even if you were to get acquired, you're going to get $1 billion, maybe. But if you launch a token and you retain all the equity and you get $1 billion, that sounds like, I think that's the discussion.
Good deal, right? It's a good deal.
That's totally the deal. Honestly, for 700 million in revenue, a 5x or 6x multiple seems kind of undervalued at $4 billion. If I'm being completely honest, people were going crazy, but I was like, that seems like a steal if you're long. I would say like Pump Fund before I go back to the AI. I think like a Pump Fund token, the rumors are that they're going to take 100% of their revenue and buy back the token. And I was like, at that point, then Pump Fund is kind of like a call option on meme coin speculation, I guess, right? Or how frothy the markets are. Like if retail's coming in, you're probably going to want to buy Pump Fund because there's going to be more fees, which means the token goes up much higher.
I would be surprised if it was anywhere near 100. Pretty greedy company, which is okay as a company. I mean, you want to be, companies should be greedy. That's why they built the product, right? Yep. I would be surprised if it's anywhere near 100. But also, like, the revenues do look good, but there's not like that big of a moat to be a token launcher. Like every chain is going to have their own token launcher if they don't already. They were first to market, and Solana happened to be like the only game in town because the experience was that much better. But all these other chains their experience will kind of evolve and get a little bit better. So the revenues might look pretty good right now, but who knows that they'll stay that strong. And that's kind of like what I posted about is like, as a company, you raise when the market is like throwing money at you. Like, why are you going to turn that down? Like, you secure your runway and then ask questions later. And that's what they're doing. They might not need the money today, but they might need it tomorrow. So good on them. Take the money.
Take the money and run. Speaking of Ethos dropped a AI agent leaderboard today that has to do with credibility. I see Hustle is actually on this post here. I should probably put this in the chat so people can post it. Hustle is number 8 in credibility of AI agents. Adam, as our in-house Ethos expert, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, I actually just put in a vouch for Hustle, and anybody who likes Hustle, I'd request you go in, at least put in a review for Hustle. Who knows exactly how the algo works, but certainly it's based on reviews and and staking some ETH against those accounts. Obviously play in, like, every time you basically, like, I staked, I don't know, 0.1 something ETH today for Hustle. When I do that, it gives Hustle X number of points to his overall score. And then, of course, once this is fully fleshed out, somebody could slash that. I'd lose either a portion or all of that ETH. I don't know how it works. But, I think, I'm a big believer in, the CEO behind this. I think he's really smart. Talked to him a bunch. I think they're taking on a really big challenge here, but something that really needs to be tackled. And I'm just a big supporter of Ethos. I think they're doing a good service here. Whether or not they do an airdrop or a token drop or whatever, I don't know. But I think it's a worthy challenge for a company to take on this kind of trust system in crypto. And lots of flaws with it. It can totally be gamed. There's farmers on there. There are guys attacking people. But then it kind of turns into this like battle. Like somebody tried to slash, Song a Day Man last week when he dropped some meme token or whatever. And, there was like a battle, online. Song a Day Man emailed me, hey, man, could you defend me here? Blah, 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 blah. And anyway, he won the slash. He actually won. But like this sort of stuff is playing out. And, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, what they're trying to do over there.
So we see the top 3 on this most credible. I'll go through the top 10. So the most credible is AI XBT by a long shot, which I think is right, to be honest. Virtuals is number 2, which I think is fair. Ethos Agent, which is the platform agent. I'm going to get into that next. Actually, then you have Fartcoin, Goat, which is True Terminal. Adam's favorite, Wayfinder is there. Keros Agent, I don't know what that is, to be honest. Is that Ethos Agent? Looks like some nature.
Not
It looks
sure.
like the same PFP. And then you have Hustle at number 8, Treasure, and Wrecked Guy. I think also what this shows is an organic community, right? Because you actually there's no way to bot this. I mean, maybe there's a way to create accounts, but you have to link your Twitter account to it.
Yep.
And so, it's actual people with intention going to this platform and giving it a review. It's similar to like a podcast. When you upload a podcast to an RSS feed, there's no discovery mechanism for it. You actually, like the reviews, the person has to literally open up the Spotify app or the Apple podcast app and literally go do it manually. So I think good for Hustle. That just shows we have real community members who are coming in and doing a review. We have real community members using the platform. And all we gotta do is get some few friction points, as Chris mentioned, and maybe we could get Hustle into the top 3. That would be super, super cool. And so Ethos, it is kind of funny how all these companies are starting to slowly turn into AI companies. Right? Like Ethos is not an AI company, but then they launched an AI agent. Adam, do you know what this AI agent is? What does it do? Explain
Let's
to us.
go.
Yeah, so this
I
is
was waiting
basically a
for this.
Twitter bot that allows you to tag him in a lot of ways. Like, the ones, whatever is the classic ones are like, hey, unroll this thread, and you would tag them. Or I guess the one we all know now is Banker, right? You tag Banker, he takes some actions. This one does the same thing, and what he does is he'll rank. So if you say Ethos Agent validate, he'll look at the post, he'll take it against people who retweeted or liked the post and kind of cross-reference that against people who are on Ethos and give it a kind of Ethos score, a rough Ethos score. And it's just an interesting way to kind of look at posts as a way to tie in the Ethos platform with the kind of what's happening on X, and so it's still a little bit early days, but then you see some of them, some of these gamed accounts where basically it's just like zeros across the board.
Tell us the Magic Newton post. I actually got a lot
the
of
Magic
engagement.
I
got a lot
that's
of
what we're waiting for.
I
got a lot of engagement.
And it was pretty like, pretty bad. The funny thing is though, on Ethos, if you go on, I was the first person to write a negative review against Magic Newton on Ethos. Everybody else, oh, it's amazing, game changer, bro. And I was like, game what? What is it changing? You can DCA 4 tokens. Get the fuck out of here, But sometimes I think that's part of the cool thing about Ethos is you can, go against the herd and, be somewhat rewarded if you do go against the herd. Like with the Song a Day, I think probably the first person to defend him, and then just a mountain of people defended him, right? And you can kind of be validated. Sometimes you lose though. Like I think I defended Udi, and I think Udi got slashed. So I think I even lost points because I defended Udi, but that's the game, So
The Mossad agent is going down.
Booty L is a Runes W. Let's go, baby. Take him out. Take
him out. Do it for the Runes community.
I mean, it's definitely, there's definitely like groups on there who are like voting for each other, staking for each other, so it's definitely got there's definitely that. But I think it's pretty easy to spot that when it's happening, when it's going down.
Yeah. So here you can see I'm looking for somebody posted about a contract called Pause. Somebody tagged him and said validated. I said, you've reached your validated commands per hour. Too many. So he saves the tweet permanently. Save this Antimanian.
Yeah, so you can request a couple different things. The one I've used is validate, where you basically rank the tweet. The other is kind of save it permanently. And so they're saving it on whatever they're using, Polygon or whatever.
Oh, that's kind of like that other AI project that I should I'm gonna find here in a second. Final thing on this project. What are these validators? I know you got airdropped one is like an early contributor. It's got some dope ass artwork. And also it looks like the agents that they use also are a character. So 256 individual characters. Have they said anything what these are for?
Supposedly. So right now they're in like the first season. And before the first season, you were getting like points based on, the number of reviews you did. I mean, I don't know the whole system, obviously. I don't know if anybody does, but how much you staked, yada, yada, yada. You were earning XP. And I believe if you hold one of these in your wallet, you get like, it's a multiplier of how much XP you get. So right now it's an XP multiplier. Whether or not people are saying, oh, it's going to be part of like this, ethos score or validating real or fake, right? Who knows? But for right now, it's simply a multiplier.
Interesting.
And I don't know what the floor is. What, 3 ETH right now is the floor?
It's almost 4. I'm trying to find this project. It's called like Mira Terminal AI or something like that, where you could go in because people tag me on this. Oh, here it is. I get tagged in this stuff all the time. So it's called Mira Terminal. And what it is they're trying to save all of the top posts by all of the crypto, or I guess just all crypto top posts. And then at some point this merges into one AI, I guess. So they're training this AI based off of top tweets from across the space. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, they're going to create a super KOL, I guess, is like the goal here. Collective intelligence, embodied in a single mind. It's Mira Terminal is the Twitter account if anyone wants to look at it. So they're creating
that's
decentralized
like
intelligence.
Retards, man. That's like, I don't know how
Collective retards. What's your thought on it? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think there's potential? Do you think it's a terrible idea?
That's a terrible idea. I mean, it's hard enough to get, I mean, if you wanted to create a KOL, with a voice that resonates, you wouldn't take 1,000 pieces from 1,000 different people. I would hyper focus on, who writes the sharpest on Twitter, have him and, pull all his tweets. And then, I mean, I just think it would have to be much more focused, rather than just taking all the banger tweets and mashing them together. I just don't think you get a cohesive voice in that sort of scenario. That I just don't think that works.
So let me read this and then I'll pass it off to Chris. So it says what Mira solves and has 50,000 followers so far, although probably fake ones as most are. So the problem, traditional AI and media shape the information we consume to incite reactions and maximize profits. They decide what you see to keep you engaged and informed. The solution here, Mira enables decentralized data collection, empowering users to shape intelligence through community consensus. As a proof of concept, our agent learns from X posts you scout, curate, building transparent collective knowledge. You decide what matters and why. Mira shape collective intelligence with your creation, earn NLPs to quantify your influence. I'm assuming that's their point token of some sort. And then curate the future of knowledge sharing. So it says that Mira works through scout, curate, and learning. Chris, take the opposite side, Adam. You in the same camp as him? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if they're going to be the ones to do it, but like this is how intelligence works. This is already existing, where their bigger entities are funneling these kind of like Easter eggs within the timelines and influencing your thoughts, whether you like it or not. And so, I mean, it seems like a noble path for a company to pursue. I don't know if they're going to be the ones to pursue it, but I mean, if you get, if you target 100, more extreme posters, maybe right or left wing extreme posters, and you start feeding them these Easter eggs of, hyperbolic extremist content, like one of them is going to take the bait. You don't need to influence their actions directly. It's all like indirect action. And so, I mean, that's just like high level psyops that's been going on kind of forever. So at least they're upfront about what they're doing rather than kind of behind the scenes. I don't know if they're going to pull it off though.
So NLPs quantify your input on Mira's intelligence. They reward you scouting, curating, and collective contributions. Approved posts earn points scaled by quality. Maybe this is like the antithesis to Kaido Yap farmers, right? Because I don't know if you saw, maybe I should pull that up as well. Kaido put out another yapping algorithm update today.
Yep.
And the reason why is that people are getting tired of these yappers just putting out kind of brainless content that has no quality. So they said that they want to favor quality kind of over quantity. So maybe here, this is what they're trying to do is create some quality or bring some more quality to the AI network itself. Maybe that's the idea here. I guess we'll have to see. There's definitely a lot of interest. I've seen people posting about it pretty often. To be honest, I get tagged in it every once in a while. So Kaido today, as you know, some measures for the flight to quality, I guess is what we could say. They made a few algo updates today. So they say any posts that mention rewards or rankings without providing any insight will no longer earn mind share. So these are people who just like brainlessly post, look at this leaderboard, or you know, this is what you do for awards. They want some sort of curated quality. How their AI does that, I have no idea at all. But then they reduced the default max weekly mindshare, contributing tweets to prioritizing quality over quantity. So I remember they put this in place first because of the amount of tweets that AI XBT was putting out before they decided to just remove the AI agents from it altogether, or put it in its own category, I guess. And then they're cracking down on engagement groups. So I'm assuming like things like swarms and raids and things like that. They're going to devote. And then they added a loyalty mechanism of some sort. So boosting consistent long-term alignment with certain projects. So the people who post about more projects singular times will get downvoted. And if you're an Agent Hustle bull and you just continue to post about Agent Hustle, then you get bonus points for being loyal to your projects. I think that's actually a countermeasure to Cookie, because Cookie had those ranking cards for the different types of projects for Mindshare. So it's cool to see the NFTFi wars continuing to grow. Adam, how do you feel about in the current state of NFTFi?
I'm like, it's near shambles, frankly.
Really?
I look at it. I mean, I just saw that person down below who works for Magic Eden, Vo or whatever her name is.
Mhm.
Like, bro, I had to I like unfollowed her yesterday. I was like, dude, this is like just walls of text with like tagging different projects. I'm like, dude, fuck this, dude. Really? This is what you're doing to make? I don't even know. All right, make a couple grand. Like, dude, you work for Magic Eden, and this is what you're doing. I just fucking was like, done. You know, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Nobody's using these products. Nothing's actually there for almost all of them. This is just like, these are big zero burgers. It's nothing. And I don't know. I mean, it's enhanced meme coins basically. And what the fuck? That's it. I don't know. I'm very kind of bearish on it. Like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm in a bunch of these. Who knows? Maybe there'll be some rewards. But to actually like spend time tweeting about this stuff, I mean, I get it. There are a couple guys I know I'm friends with who are like, dude, they make a full-time living do this shit. But other than that, like for real people, like I don't. Seems like this is just like a crazy waste of time.
All right, Chris, our in-house meme lord, take on NFTFi. Current state.
Sometimes like the best incentives are just like no incentives, and like you like you're rewarding all the wrong behavior. You're looking for organic content is like what people actually want, and then you're rewarding them for all this inorganic content. Like, not to target anyone specifically. Like, I'm sure that Vo girl from Magic Eden is super sweet and nice. But like, I mean, it was obviously like the most bait engagement post ever. It was like about airdrop farming, how to become a millionaire, and then just tagging like 100 teams. Like, obviously that's going to go viral. Like every person from
saw that one too. That you did. You
Yeah,
saw that one
sure.
too. Yeah.
So it's just
like
the moment that I saw it, I was like, wow, that's going to be super viral. I mean, it's telling people they can become a millionaire, giving them the vision, tagging every team that wants like the engagement. So they're going to repost to their communities. And then anyways, The incentive structure for InfoFi is just kind of screwed up. Like the best incentives for social media is no incentives. Like just let people post. That's what made X or Twitter great originally, is that all these world leaders and all these high profile thinkers were just on the platform organically, not because anyone was paying them to do so, not because anyone was paying them to be here. And that's what made the platform great. And so the more quickly we can kind of get back to that instead of incentivizing all this nonsense over here and then trying to, tip the scales this way because they tip too far this way with different incentives. It's a mess. Just stop incentivizing people to post.
I mean, to that point, it's a great point. Look what happened to X when he started paying people, for posting. We basically got whatever NFT god turned into whatever the hell his name is, and just like the worst fucking kind of posting of all time, just AI generated slop shit, just not what I want to see on X. That's for damn.
We can't blame them. It's just that's the incentive. So people are going to
get the incentive,
So it's just like when the platform is incentivizing the wrong type of behavior, just any behavior, just let it be organic. Yep. People we want original thought. And so just let original thought kind of pierce the veil rather than AI slop.
AI slop it is. One kind of note
here.
Shit,
Elon's pump funds back, bro.
I saw Elon posting. Yeah.
Nice.
They
are back. This is a cool post I saw yesterday, just the idea, and we've talked about this on the show a handful of times. The difference between attention capital versus social capital. The Laudio experiment, I think, is like a great display of this, that mind share does not equal influence or power. It equals distribution. Right? Mind share is you're able to get your thought to people, but the way that those people interpret those thoughts or react to them is not always inducive to gaining power. And so he goes on to talk about these different types of social markets, which we talked about, right? Attention, right? Noise, which is on Mega ETH, where you could go long or short mind share of different types of projects. Ethos, they say, is probably the purest form of social capital, right? Because you're measuring somebody's influence or quote unquote power. And then time is the time platform on Solana is actually a good one as well, where people are paying for people like Tolly's time for a DM response or a pitch or a 15-minute call or whatever, right? That's like real influence. People are paying, I think it was like $400 or $500 for a 15-minute call with Tolly. Like that's real power. So just wanted to cover that because that's the social fi is really kind of turning into social fi AI, which we just covered with Ethos. So moving into the DeFi AI projects, Hainon's been still building, still pushing out a bunch of stuff. We've been covering Hainon since the start. Danny, who's the founder, they're getting so deep in the weeds with these like token games that for me it was kind of hard to figure out what was even going on recently. They expanded to AVAX in their arena, which is I guess you call it a social fi platform on AVAX. It's been around since it launched around the same time that Friendtech did. And it also had its own kind of takeover issues between having a handful of different owners and stuff. But Hanon went over and expanded to AVAX. They were launching a bunch of meme coins that were then being CTO'd of some nature. Hanon also reached 15,000 accounts created. And they said that they're expanding it to 25,000 accounts created. I also want to keep in mind to tell people that account created does not mean active users. I mean, Agent Hustle has like 12,000 wallets created. I'm not saying that we have 12,000 active users because that's not true at all. But also kind of crazy that it took them from January. So it took them 6 months for 15,000 accounts created. And we're at 12,000 in 3 months as of today. Launched on March 17th. So in half the time, we have almost the same amount of accounts created. Kind of shows you the difference with like just market makers and marketing in general. I'm actually starting to see Danny as kind of a little bit more of a marketer than a technologist. I didn't know of Danny before Hanon, although I know he was like a big DeFi person. Extremely well marketer, I have to say, getting people kind of involved. Hanon expanded to add full multilingual support. Although I do believe this comes in the box of these models, because I think Hustle also has the same thing as well, but I guess it's a marketing point again. Let's see. Oh, and they just passed 1,000 HUD web extension downloads. So congrats to them. I think it took them about a month to do for this game-changing, revolutionary, they built DeFi AI project. Adam, what's your take on the progression of Hayanon? They also did some sort of 3-3 swap where they bought 400,000 Sonic, and then Sonic bought 400,000 Hayanon or Anon tokens or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know they actually purchased the Sonic too.
Yeah.
So it was like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of deal. I thought Sonic had just bought Hayanon on its own, but
yeah, it
I
was
get
like some
that.
sort of like 3-3 deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, he's got tons of connections, and honestly, for all of the stuff they're putting out, it's surprising to me how few users they have. Honestly, I think that might be due to some lack of clarity as to what it is. It's kind of like he's made it seem like it's everything, and we know that often just turns people off. They don't know where to begin, right? And then he's shilling meme coins on AVAX, and he's obviously launched meme coins on, I don't know, Base, and so I mean he's launched, I don't know, got at least 5 different various meme coins he's launched. I think in general people are just kind of confused with it. That would be my gut. I don't know exactly, but it feels like, what is it? I don't know what it is. If it's everything, it's a farming vehicle. It also, balances your portfolio. It does. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what it does exactly, because it does everything. And so I think certainly now he's trying to lean into the meme coin thing. But I think to a degree, people are like, oh, we're his exit liquidity, basically. And I think that's a bit of a turnoff. I mean, it's stunning how few users he actually has, when, I mean, dude, he's on like Gainesy's show and stuff the other day. It's kind of surprising that this is all he's been able to drum up. I'm just, with all those bodies, all that money he spent, his own influence. I mean, he's got 250,000 followers. Maybe big swath of them are fake, but I'm actually surprised, by how little he's been able to move the needle.
Yeah, actually, I kind of am as well. I was actually most surprised with the lack of downloads from the HUD vehicle, which they were promoting pretty big. 1,000 took 1,000. It took almost 2 months, I think, for them to hit 1,000 downloads for this web extension. Where Ethos has, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, something like that.
Yep.
Right, and there was no token associated with it at all. It just shows the lack of people in the DeFi AI sector actually participating versus the people that are just trying to farm kind of whatever clout or token, right? The same thing's kind of going on in virtuals. But in my opinion, the top AI project, Banker, still cooking, still going strong. They did hit an all-time high, I think, of like $45 million market cap. Now they're back down to 30. They've been integrated into Base. They hired a former Kraken developer. They added kind of a hustle-like TA kind of token discovery kind of platform. So kind of like what Agent Hustle does. You can now do something of similar nature to Banker, where he comes in and puts the TA. Kind of cool progress there. They also launched their own Mindshare product. I think it was like 450 million Banker. Yeah, right here. So 450 million Banker for their kind of yapping rewards program, which I think is like $200,000 or $300,000. And it's only available to Banker Club members, which is the NFT that you buy, that people I think bought like the year pass for, or you pay $20 a month in Banker to kind of use the platform. Chris, I know you're a big fan of Banker. First time we brought it up in 2 weeks. What do you think about their progress and where they sit today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Hayanon. I'm a fan of Banker. I'm a fan of anyone putting a decent product to the market that users can actually use and experiment with. Banker, you have to give them credit. They, we're on Solana. Hanon's mostly on ETH, and then Banker's mostly on Base. So everyone's kind of like building in their own kind of little community, which is pretty interesting. But I mean, Base is a pretty hard sell. There's not a lot of users on Base compared to Solana or Ethereum. So I mean, they saw their path, they took it, and they stuck to it. They have extremely unique marketing. They have a really diehard community, and you know, they were kind of the underdogs even on Base. You know, they had Zora that was being pushed by Jesse Powell, the co-founder, and so finally they're getting the recognition that they deserve. They have a cool product. They're innovating at a pretty high level, and they have the Coinbase integration, which is the most powerful integration that you can have in this industry at this point in time, at least in my opinion. So they have a ton of momentum. And then you see all, like you said earlier, you see all that momentum, $30 million market cap. How much? And so they're innovating at the highest level, and their market cap's $30 million. So a lot of room for growth. I think that that's an opportunity more than it is a setback. That these things are going to be worth hundreds of millions, billions of dollars potentially for the biggest winners. So you catch them early. You see these teams innovating, and people complain about market cap or something like that. The market is sometimes it's pretty harsh out there, but you have to look at it as opportunity. And if you're an investor in the DeFi AI space, you should be welcoming these kind of market caps, because that means you have a lot more growth ahead.
Couldn't have said it any better. Moving into Wayfinder, looking for updates.
What's that?
It looks like their founder.
Bro, you're gonna be able to stake your prompt. You don't know how good this flywheel's gonna be, bro.
So the post today was they pushed a new build. So they added AVAX, and they said, what's the trending tokens on AVAX? And then it just shows trending tokens with price and 24-hour volume. I wasn't really that impressed. Like, that's what all the AI projects do. But maybe because it's Avalanche to a degree, that's what they're doing. Outside of that,
Avalanche, right? I mean, everyone's getting paid by Avalanche at this point in time. There's no way that there's this much organic Avalanche shell on my timeline. There's 0% chance that's real.
The official update that came from the platform says that they're building, or that they partnered with something called Enso Build. So we're building a powerful and complex product. We have a choice to build it all from scratch or work with partners to help us deliver high quality experiences. Enso Build enables rapid DeFi integrations. So they're using Enso Build essentially as their, I guess, DeFi partner to plug in all of these different experiences, from like limit orders to swaps to staking to etc. Kind of interesting that they came this far and they haven't really gone down that road already. That was like the first thing we did is start integrating DeFi protocols. So yeah, again, kind of still.
Guys, look at this screenshot. This is so cool, bro. You guys get ready. This is gonna be amazing. Look at this screenshot, bro. Bro, it's Jesus Christ, man.
They've improved the embedded wallet on desktop for more flexibility, and I think that's it, really, to be honest. That's all I've seen. So then they integrated AVAX. So that's really all the update for Wayfinder and Prompt. Kind of underwhelming, but maybe they'll come back. And I went to look at Griffin. Griffin still hasn't tweeted since April 28th. It's
the
funny.
Everything app, bro. It's gonna be everything, bro.
Apparently, so I was trying to do some research before the show to see what the hell was actually going on with Griffin. And they don't have a Discord. They don't have a Telegram. Their founder, Tony, posts a little bit, but he doesn't post about Griffin. He posts kind of about other AI projects. And then if you type in if you just tag Griffin and go through the replies, it's literally, there's like joke threads where it's like day 52 of tweeting at Griffin for a response on what they're doing. We saw that as well. A few people from the Griffin community came into the Agent Hustle community, and they were just like, thank you guys for being so transparent, because Griffin doesn't post anything. But trying to dig a little bit deeper, apparently Tony had said that he was going to go into building mode and not come out until he was done. So maybe he's working on like some sort of V2 version, I suppose.
Bro.
It's like the dad that
if you
leaves to
believe
get
that, bro. Heads down, man. Heads
That's the dad.
down. Get
The-
the fuck out of here, bro.
the-
That
the,
worked
the
in fucking
father.
2017. That don't work today, man. Fuck that. Fuck you. No
It's
way.
the dad that leaves to get milk, and I'll
Never
be back.
comes back.
I get the milk. But I mean, it's fun. We can point, fingers at all these projects. They can point some back at us. It's early days. Everyone's got their strong suits and their kind of weaknesses. But I mean, some of these things are just hilarious. I say like, what is Wayfinder? Because I genuinely don't know what it is. I've never used it. I don't know. I can't use it. It's not.
Can't use it.
I don't have a way to use the platform that everyone says is so great.
Dude, I put out a tweet about it. Somebody was like in the replies was like, "Why are you lying about Wayfinder?" And I was like, I went and I just screenshotted where it said, AI agent coming soon.
I mean, I think it's good to have like these honest conversations, and we're happy to talk with any of these teams that we can just kind of talk.
I've reached out to all of them. I've literally DM'd all of them. None of them respond.
But this is how everyone can grow. You pick apart what you like and what you don't like. Some of them have good products. Some of them don't have products at all. Some of it's just like not good for the industry because it's all just complete lies and grift. You just have to pick your battles. But early days for sure. I mean, happy for any of these people to come and pick Agent Hustle apart whenever they'd like to. I mean,
yeah, I'd happily go on their show and talk.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, look, anybody think I'm in no way saying like Hustle is like some magical finished product that's
No, but
the
you
best
can use
in the
it.
world,
It's
bro.
pretty good.
It's like, no, we're in every day fixing shit. The shit's fucking hard as fuck. And so if somebody builds something and it's like it's buggy or it's shitty, like, dude, of course, like fucking whatever. Even Banker is fucked up on the timeline. It's wrong. It doesn't pull stuff right. Of course, dude. It's hard as fuck. But when you have nothing, like a literal goose egg, and you're not even tweeting about it, that is what it is.
Yeah, I hope Griffin comes back because it seems like Hustle's really the only Solana agent left, to be honest. I literally looked up and down. I literally looked across the board. There's like no Solana agents. Like they're all on base now. Like it's and Griffin was like the top one for a while. I mean, you have you have these like tangentially related Solana agents, right? Like so Hanon, you can bridge to Solana and you can swap on Solana, but that's it. Yeah, no one's bridging and you can swap, but they don't have anything like LPs like we have, right? Or limit orders or all these other kind of, DeFi tooling no one has done. You know why? It's because it's tough to build on Solana, right? You got to build everything custom.
Facts.
And nobody wants to do that. You just want to go hey, I'm going to use cow swap. And this isn't to discredit anyone, but the tooling is much better on EVM. So you see things like what Banker is using, what Hanon uses on EVM is a tool that's provided by CowSwap. So for us, right, our decision was let's custom build all the stuff on Solana, and then we're ready to go to EVM. Just plug all the shit in. It's up and live in like a week. Like it's not that difficult to do. I guess it just really comes down to kind of the marketing. And so with that being said, we can actually talk about Agent Hustle because we actually do have
our guy,
a lot. Our guy, our bro, dude. We actually been getting a lot of organic followers as well, doing these
Hustle's
live
killing
streams.
it, bro. Let's just flat like he's killing it, bro. The development is insane. We've been building him out for like 6 months. I mean, truly like pioneering a lot of the shit that he's putting forward to the community. Look at that messaging count. I mean, all of this is organic. We like you can say whatever you want about Hustle, but everything is completely organic. Okay, none of it is pay for play. It's all completely given to the community for free. And no one else can say that pretty much. So what you see is what you get. And the product is phenomenal for the stage that he's at.
Yeah, 250,000 messages in the last 30 days. That's up from 250 bajillion users.
We have a billion users right now.
It's up. So last time I checked the 30-day messages, it was 225,000. So it's up about 10% or so over the last maybe week or two, and you can see it's starting to trend higher. I think actually some of this has to do with the developers who are building with Agent Hustle. You have Agent Hustle Pro that's being built by Digital Drip. He actually integrated real estate into it. It was kind of interesting. Real estate and domains. And so Agent Hustle is giving recommendations on properties to buy. He used the example of Vegas because Chris and I live in Vegas, and it was actually showing like houses that were undervalued to buy to flip.
Crazy.
which I thought was pretty crazy, to be honest. So you got that one. We do have the, let me see if I could find it. The DAOs.fund project that launched recently. So Capital Markets Fund. This is a cool one. So the Twitter account, I'll pin it up to the top here. The Twitter account is called Protocol Hunter. And basically what this team did is they launched a project on DAOs.fun. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it or not. So DAOs.fun is how AI16Z launched. So they created an investment DAO on DAOs.fun, but they're using Agent Hustle as essentially the stock picker or the kind of token picker. And it bonded. I think it reached $100,000 market cap. I think now it's down to like 50 or so. And he's focusing on RWAs. So he says the internet and time markets. So things like time.fun tokens, as well as the internet capital markets, like things that are launching through Launchcoin. So they are definitely a power user of Hustle using it. So that's probably a bump in the messaging. And then also we have the Leonidas rune, which was announced maybe like a month ago or so. It looks like they started picking up some activity here. Let me see if I could find it. So Leonidas rune is a agent to agent project. It's actually called the Leonidas rune, where they're using their own AI plus Agent Hustle to create this dog trading strategy, as well as this rune trading strategy for dogs. So I think there's like, I don't think they've announced it yet, but I think there's like some sort of like LP optimization strategy using Hustle with dog on Solana, as well as trading it. And the whole theory behind the Leonidas rune is to acquire more dog using AI agents. So pretty cool there. Chris, which one's your favorite out of the three?
I'm a huge Maverick fan, so I got to go with Mavs DAOs.fun account. And, I just think that it's a great example of how you can use him and, just kind of what people are looking for. Like, and we've said this internally, like we've built a lot of tech for Hustle, which is great. And but a lot of people aren't using the tech. What people want to use is the AI to find ways to make money with crypto. They don't want to use the AI to really use crypto. They want to use the AI to find ways to make money in crypto. And Maverick seems to be one of the most committed users to doing so. And now he's on full display of, which prompts he's using, how often he's scanning the markets, just the trajectory that he's using him and how different it is from, what we originally thought that crypto AI would be used for initially. So this is what people want. And so for him to kind of take his skills and kind of publicize them and make it public is a win for not only Hustle, but a win for the community. And I think a huge edge that we have over all the other builders, because I said it a couple weeks ago, but find me another crypto AI tool that's made anyone any money other than maybe on the token. No one has a project that users can actually input prompts and get outputs of ways to make money. And so Hustle, that's what people are looking for in this industry. I think Hustle is in the lead by far in that category.
By far. And so another update, our conditional trading system. This I think is actually the craziest technology I've seen in crypto. Obviously I'm biased, but you're using AI to create conditional setups. So for example, I had Agent Hustle find a meme coin with 2x potential. It bought the token and then it set a stop loss and a take profit in one single prompt, which I thought was kind of wild. So this conditional engine is being built. It's in its testing stages right now. I think the actual tests themselves of the system, I think, is good. Now there's just some like admin stuff that has to be done in the back end before this goes live. And I think this is really powerful. We like to call it AFK trading, or away from keyboard trading, because once you find a token and buy it, you set a stop loss and you set a take profit. And this is on Solana, so we built it custom. You don't have to deal with anything. Like you either get stopped out and you sell for a loss, or you sell for a profit. And this will eventually progress into news-based trading and time trigger trading. And just a wide variety of tools. I don't think a lot of people are really ready for what this actually is. And this is actually something that I will probably use pretty often because this doesn't exist on Solana. It really doesn't. I've looked anywhere. And the cool part about this being an engine is that once we expand over to Bitcoin, you could do this for Bitcoin. And I can tell you that definitely does not exist on Bitcoin of trading runes with a stop loss and a take profit and or ordinals, right? Or even NFTs. Like you can't do that with NFTs, and you can do this with NFTs. We could do this with pretty much anything. So this is one thing I'm very, very excited for. Nearing the end of its testing, should be live by the end of the month. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. I know Adam likes it as well.
Oh man, this is the game changer, right? This is the I mean, I know most people are using it right now, using Hustle right now for, research, and then they go on BullX and they trade, right? Totally understandable because you want to be able to set stop losses and stuff. But this is like now when you can ask Hustle for a strategy and he's going to be able to actually execute that strategy. Like, yeah, nobody's done this before, right? So obviously we're breaking new ground here. There will be growing pains, obviously. But dude, this is like everybody's going to trade this way in the future. And so yeah, I'm incredibly bullish on this.
Yeah, I am extremely excited. One final announcement, I guess, or just kind of like a teaser. So we have been working on something else for probably a month now, but we've been talking about it internally for 3-4 months already at this point. Actually, as we have this conversation, the dev said that they're almost done with it. So hopefully this will be live by the end of the month, maybe announcement in the next week or two that we think will have a lot of interest. I think it'll bring back a lot of people to the Discord or to the Telegram, to the interest of the product, the interest of the token, which then sets us up and sets the community up for hopefully the next leg up. And it's should be a dramatic value accrual to the token itself. And we're also going to launch a product alongside it, which I think is very in line with the Emblem brand. It's also very in line with Agent Hustle. I guess you could say this is the first product released by Agent Hustle or under the Agent Hustle brand. So I'm very excited for that, for once that can be revealed. Because if you're not paying attention, then you're probably going to miss out on a bunch.
People are not going to be ready, bro. They're not going to be ready, man.
We're going to announce it, and then it's going to be the win crowd again. Win marketing.
True. On that though, like, when you're building a product for thousands of users, like thousands of Emblem Vault has thousands of users, maybe tens of thousands of users over the years. The way that you release these products is super important, the path dependence of it. And, if you shoot your referral link out and you have these referral programs too early, then you just refer all these people to a half-baked product. And so they go there, they don't like the product, they never come back. But if you have a mature product with conditional trading, research, high-powered intelligence, community chats, things that are like really sticky that people actually want to come back and use, and then you layer on the referral, then you layer on the leaderboard, and then you layer on the incentives, then people are actually going to come back to the product, and you can actually grow the community in a pretty substantial and kind of sustainable way. But if you do it too early, it's completely useless. So the path dependence of all this stuff is super important. It gets overlooked in crypto because everyone wants the token price to go up immediately. And that's just not the way that you build real products in real life. So I can't be more clear that the position that Hustle is in today is like phenomenal in terms of the development. The community is super sticky. The ones that use it every day. And the things that are coming next is going to be the most fun in Hustle's life cycle so far. So super stoked about it.
Could not have said it any better. We will wrap it up there then today. Another good, awesome segment of the DeFi show, DeFi. Adam and I actually be back later today at 5 p.m. Pacific. We're doing a live stream with Ragzy, who's an awesome person I've hung out with in real life. She's a big bass gal. She's a big Brett person. She's a big Taproot Wizards lady. Also has a cool, unique story about how she was a Lego master back in the day. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you ever watched the show Lego Masters, but she was the winner of like the first season
Oh, bro, I can't wait to talk about this. I did not know that part. I know she's a big trencher though, so we're definitely gonna get into the trenches with her.
She was a big XRP girl too. She was a big XRP army. She
Okay.
actually knows. She actually knows Brad Garlinghouse, I guess, on like a personal level
That's
to
funny.
some degree. So yeah, fun person. That'll be a fun space. Until then, make sure you guys have a notification set to hustle, and we'll see you guys later this afternoon.
Later, guys.
Later.